Hey 4th grade, today you will be able to use latitude and longitude to find locations on a map and to give the coordinates of locations on a map. What are latitude and longitude? Latitude and longitude are imaginary lines that are drawn on maps and globes. They are used to determine locations of places around the world. Latitude and longitude are measured in degrees, and the symbol for degrees is that little circle that goes at the very top, just like when you're taking the temperature of something. So the lines of latitude, those run horizontally. Hold up your arm like this. They run horizontally. The lines of latitude measure how far north or south you are from the equator. The equator, that red line on the picture, goes around the middle of the world like a giant belt, and that is at 0 degrees. Lines of latitude begin at 0 degrees at the equator and end at both of the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole. And from the equator, they go up to 90 degrees going north and 90 degrees going south. Any area north of the equator is north latitude, and any area south of the equator is south latitude. When we are writing the coordinates, the lines of latitude labels are either going to be north or south, always. The lines of latitude can help us identify what a certain place's climate is like. Climate is the overall weather of a certain location, and there are many factors that change a climate. One of them is the distance a place is from the sun. In general, a place that is closer to the equator is warmer. The smaller the degree in latitude, the higher the temperature is. So at the equator, we know that it's 0 degrees latitude, and that places along the equator get the most direct sunlight. But a place that is farther away from the equator is generally colder. The greater the degree in latitude, the lower the temperature is. So if the degree in latitude was 87 degrees, you're in the North Pole. That's pretty cold. Now for longitude. Longitude lines, repeat after me, longitude. These lines run vertically on a map or a globe, so they go from up and down. They measure how far east or west you are from the prime meridian. So just like the equator, the prime meridian goes right through the middle, okay? But the prime meridian is a vertical line, also at 0 degrees. Try saying longitude out loud. Longitude. Notice how your mouth is opened vertically. That's a trick that we can use to remember that longitude lines are going from top to bottom. Okay? Lines of longitude also begin at 0 degrees, but instead of 90 degrees, they end at 180 degrees. So if we take a look at this picture, we start at 0 degrees and we're going to the east or west, to the east or west, up until we reach 180 degrees. And when we reach 180 degrees, that's called the anti-meridian. Lines of longitude are labeled east and west. Another trick that will help you remember the difference between latitude and longitude is by looking at a ladder. Okay, we can use this ladder as our metaphor for latitude and longitude. So the steps on a ladder are horizontal. That is the latitude. And the longitude are the bases of the ladder that are going up and down. That is the longitude. The Earth can be split into 4 hemispheres because of the equator and the prime meridian. The equator is the line of latitude that splits the Earth in half horizontally. That equator creates the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. It splits up the Earth into 2 different hemispheres. A hemisphere is a half of a sphere. The prime meridian is the line of longitude that splits the Earth in half vertically. It creates the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. So when we have the equator and the prime meridian, it creates 4 hemispheres. We can use the 4 hemispheres to determine locations a little bit easier as well. So we have the Northern Hemisphere, the Southern Hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere, and the Eastern Hemisphere. When we use latitude and longitude, this will give us the coordinates of a certain location. The coordinates tell us where lines of latitude and longitude cross, where they intersect. And this tells us the exact location of a place on the map. The coordinates of the location above of the green diamond are 40 degrees north latitude and 90 degrees west longitude. When we use latitude and longitude to determine location, it's a lot like playing Battleship. You use the coordinates to try to locate your friend's ships. So what would the coordinates of each hit be on these ships? What about the misses? So if we take a look at this first hit here, we see that it's at J2. We followed the lines of latitude first and then the lines of longitude. When you're reading or writing coordinates, latitude is always written first and longitude is written second. So the coordinate above would be read as 46 degrees north, 150 degrees west. So we know that on the lines of latitude, it's at 46 degrees, and then on the lines of longitude, it's at 150 degrees west. All right, make sure that you complete the class kick. The link is right below this video. Make sure you're also listening to my audio. I give some tips for how to complete each page. Let me know if you need any help. I will have my WebEx open.